Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Pyromancer here, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all having a wonderful day, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. And today, we're going to be doing a video that has been, for quite a little while now, pretty highly requested. And that is a revisit to Augment the Mad's Dream Journal. Now, if you guys don't know, at the end of Legion, when Sargeras took his giant sword, imbued with the sheer power of death and destruction, and stabbed it into our planet, there showed up in Sylvanas some new NPCs, and one of them was a unique rare NPC called Augment the Mad. And when you killed him, he dropped this dream journal. Now, Augment was an ogre. However, he was a part of the Twilight's Hammer cult, a cult devoted to, as we know, the old gods, and specifically N'Zoth. But they knew that that they should be there, and when you kill him, you get his journal, and in his journal, this is the description. The handwriting is barely legible, and the primitive sketches contained within are best described as unsettling. But Augment talks about some pretty interesting things, and when this first came out back in, what was it, 7.3.2, I think is what it was. There was a lot of different speculation on what this was. I think I had a video out the same day. So now that some time has passed and we've seen some events unfold, we're going to go ahead and we're going to reanalyze, essentially, this piece of literature. After that, we're also going to look at the Veramathris quotes from Antor's the Burning Throne. If you guys don't know who Veramathris is, Veramathris was a DREADLORD who essentially teamed up with Sylvanas to help create the plague that would wipe out pretty much everything on Azeroth, living or dead. But anyway, Veramathris apparently double-crossed Sargeras in doing so, and so Veramathris was captured, and we find him in Antor's the Burning Throne. But he has some pretty interesting things to say, so I want to talk about those. So let's go over to Augment's Dream Journal real quick. Okay, so this is what Augment writes. Augment was just puny boy fighting at the war camp when the masters blessed me with the visions. I come to Sylvanas, to the great wound, seeking wonders. Make Augment your vessel, masters. So the first thing Augment talks about, he's this little boy. He was at a war camp, and the masters blessed him with visions. Now these visions, considering that this is a dream journal, these visions likely mostly come from dreams, and what you find in here illustrates that. He comes to Sylvanas to the Great Wound, obviously the giant stab wound now left by Sargeras, seeking wonders, because apparently there is a wonderful thing that he's going to find here, and wishes for the masters to make him his vessel, their vessel rather. So he wants the power of the masters to flow through him, allow him to become a vessel of them. Last night, Augment dreamed of great battle, 2 fleets bashing on an ocean of blood. Shadows twisting beneath the ships. Rising. Augment's so happy watching the carnage. Then Augment gets waked up by skittering sounds. Stupid bugs. Don't matter. Augment knows these dreams soon come true. So Augment is clearly dreaming these visions, as he says here. He dreams of a great battle. This is clearly the battle between the Alliance and the Horde. 2 fleets bashing on ocean of blood. And the whole ocean of blood thing, that could be our blood in the ocean. This fleet going against one another could be referring to an ocean of Azeroth's blood as well. Shadows twisting beneath the ships, rising. It would seem that that is more than likely referring to Queen Ashara and her plot with N'Zoth. Augment's so happy watching the carnage. So Augment's really, he's okay with this, which is not surprising considering the Hour of Twilight is supposed to be the apocalyptic end of all things, and if he's a Twilight's Hammer, he definitely supports basically the apocalypse. Then Augment gets waked up by skittering sounds, stupid bugs. So he's not much of a fan of the Sylvanas that can be found out there in the zone. Don't matter, Augment knows these dreams soon come true, and Augment wasn't wrong. The visions that Augment saw are 2 fleets bashing on an ocean of blood. Not exactly incorrect. Life comes back to this wasted land. First the bugs come, now the gobbies skulking round. They craving the world blood. Augment am sure of it. Bah, let them have these drippings. Soon Augment gonna drink rivers of blood. The masters promise. So that's a little unsettling. So the goblins, obviously, they're coming around. They're mining the azurite, craving the world blood. Life coming back to this wasted land, probably referring to the fact that everything in the zone was absolutely fucking decimated upon the impact of the sword. But they're craving the world blood, and Augment is not incorrect. Let them have these drippings. So what we were initially getting in Silithus were just drips and drops of what was to come. Soon Augment gonna drink rivers of blood. So I want to point out here, when Garrosh goes crazy in the Siege of Orgrimmar, and he has this vision that he's given from presumably Yasharaj, or at least the heart of Yasharaj, he said, I have seen mountains of skulls and rivers of blood, and I will have my world. That's an interesting thing that they say right there, that Augment's going to drink rivers of blood. The Masters promise that this will happen. And based on what I've seen throughout BFA, there's been so much azurite in certain places that there almost are rivers of blood, world blood.
Today smoke rises up from the campfire. Smoke tells Augment good story. Augment sees lady wrapped in dark swirlies. She leads herd of blind sheep. The sheepies follow her ever place she go, do everything she say. Never doubt lady. She guide 'em all over a tall cliff. Splat, splat, splat. Stupid sheepies. The crows get fat eating the sheep flesh. The lady laugh as crows eat. Augment laugh too.
So here's the thing about this. That is 100% talking about Sylvanas Windrunner. Sees a lady wrapped in dark swirlies. Okay, we've seen that several times with Sylvanas in BFA. She leads a herd of blind sheep. See now, this is one of those things, man. We kind of, for those of us that stayed Sylvanas loyalists, we kind of did, literally everything she says, blind to the truth of what she was actually doing. And again, I will continue to say, I think there's more at play here for what Sylvanas is doing. But leading a herd of blind sheep, not necessarily inaccurate. The sheepies follow her every place she goes, do everything she says. Never doubt lady. And I like how it uses the word lady, because Sylvanas is often referred to as the Dark Lady. She guide them over a tall cliff, which basically with Nathanos and the dagger from Xalatath kind of did happen, but I think there's even more to come in regards to this. Splat, splat, splat. Stupid sheepies. The crows get fat eating the sheep flesh. So that's to say that maybe it's not us, but at least the factions via the Horde and the Alliance, specifically probably the Horde, are the sheep. They're the sheep. In whatever is on the other side, when they're dying, something is eating them. Because again, splat, splat, splat. Being guided over a tall cliff and then saying splat, 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 that's basically saying whoever the sheep are being guided over the cliff, they're dying. And then something, the crows, are getting fat eating the sheep flesh. Well, Sylvanas in her Loyalist cinematic that just came out in the newest patch literally says countless souls have been fed to the hungering darkness, where it's saying here the crows get fat eating the sheep flesh. So what Augment is referring to here is definitely Sylvanas. The lady laugh as crows eat. Remember how Sylvanas says, if only you could see yourselves as I see you. Sylvanas does not hold very high regard for the majority of the Horde or the Alliance. Us, as the Sylvanas Loyalist champion, may be a little bit different, because the way in which she interacts with us is seemingly very trusting as far as post-Orgrimmar cinematic, where she kills Sourfang. Spoiler alert, no, I'm just kidding. But this is interesting, though, because this kind of insinuates, then, that Augment's being given visions that Sylvanas is going to be doing what she has carried out throughout BFA, which means that whoever's giving Augment visions more than likely planned for Sylvanas to do everything that she has done so far, and that individual is most likely N'Zoth. So this is interesting. This is like a plot point that's essentially given to us in a hint prior to everything that's gone on, and then it actually is unfolded in front of us, and it's beginning to make more sense. So let's move on. We go to the next page.
Dat blade has shiny eye. Always watching us. Why you no see it? 3 lies, the first one been told. Bound by that throne? No. Free. Free! The next gonna come soon. Maybe they see this one.
So this is an interesting one. because I think there's essentially 3 different blades that we can talk about. That blade has shiny eye, always watching us. Why you no see it? So this one, in my opinion, is rather clear. But I'm going to entertain the other 2 ideas before I tell you what I think it is. So here's the thing. You have Xal'atath, you have Charlemagne, and you have the Sword of Sargeras. Okay? Xal'atath, Blade of the Black Empire, has a very clear and distinct eye on it. And I think personally that even though Xal'atath was carried into BFA with a little more importance because it was such a beloved artifact weapon, I don't think that this is referring to Xal'atath. Okay, I'm going to be honest. We can clearly see the eye. It's not very shiny. This does not make much sense in regards to Xal'atath. There's Charlemagne. Charlemagne is an enchanted elven sword gifted to Varian Wrynn by Jaina Proudmoore. It's an ancient sword. I don't necessarily know the direct origins of it. If someone does, please feel free to put them down in the description below. And it has a glistening, literal shining ball in the handguard, kind of in the blade of the sword. Now, it could say, it's always watching us. Why you see it? Again, this is a very specific thing. Something that mostly only Alliance players are exposed to. It's not like Horde characters and players are around Anduin Wrynn all the time. And it, to me, is a little bit confusing as to why it would be watching all the time. But then there's the Sword of Sargeras, the literal reason for the Great Wound. And when you look at the old art for Sargeras' sword, almost every single piece of art that ever was or has been of Sargeras' sword has included this large eye in it that we, for some reason, when we look at the sword in Silithus, cannot see. And I'm gonna be honest, like, to me, that seems like the most obvious answer here. That the large sword stuck in the ground that caused the Great Wound and this burning eye that is present in all of the art is not visible when we go and see it. Now, when you look at what should be there, this is the image you get. This black and red darkness. We don't even know what this energy is, but I am very certain that it's death energy, that this is something that comes straight from Argus the Unmaker. And I think that given, and as I've pointed out in several videos in the past, the clear texture and color scheme that matches between Argus and what we're seeing in this sword kind of tells me that this energy, this is Argus. And as I have asserted many times in the past, Argus is a titan that has a very powerful affinity for the force of death. And I think that it makes sense that if Sargeras wanted to harm our world in any capacity or cause death and destruction, that imbuing a sword in a very quick moment right before he's imprisoned by the Pantheon is probably the best way to wreak havoc upon our planet. But that is my theory on this blade. It has a shiny eye. It's always watching us. Why you no see? But what is a shiny eye? Because when you look at the actual sword itself, it doesn't appear that shiny. However, during one of the cutscenes, the one specifically where we drain the energy out of the sword with our artifact weapons, there's actually a part where you can see that beneath this shadow energy, there is a brilliant and bright flame. That is more than likely the shiny eye. So think of it like a Sauron's eye, from Lord of the Rings, where you literally have this giant tower with a burning eye in it that's looking down upon everything. That's what I think that the shiny eye is that we can't see. But anyway, that's how I feel about that. 3 lies the first been told. Now this relates back to a whisper from Il'gynoth in the Nightmare, the Emerald Nightmare. And Il'gynoth says, "The boy king serves at the master's table. 3 lies will he offer you." Now, first off, the boy king is definitely Anduin Wrynn. At this point, there has been several hints that he is. And there's actually been several characters like Sylvanas and Gul'dan that actually refer to him as the Boy King. So I'm pretty sure it's talking about Anduin. And given how important of a character Anduin has been throughout BFA, I have no issue saying that this is talking about Anduin. So the first lie, here's the thing. By the time that we got to Silithus, and by the time that we were even able to discover this journal, there's really only one point that Anduin could have lied, and that was in the cinematics where Anduin is addressing his people after the war with the Burning Legion. And one specific thing that Anduin says in his dialogue is that, there's a couple things. What does he say? "My father believed that no man, not even a king, is more important than the alliance. That could be a lie. The other thing could be, and the definition of a lie is something that we can get into and we can debate all day. But another thing that Anduin says is we did the impossible. We defeated the Burning Legion. And while a lot of people would say that we did, I don't know that we actually did. Considering what Sargeras was able to do in his final moments, I don't really know if what we did counts as defeating them, because it would seem that this giant sword stuck into our world is probably more detrimental and damaging than anything the Burning Legion probably could have done with its armies throughout the whole entirety of its time trying to interact with Azeroth, considering the fact that that seemingly has become the case and Azeroth is dying and we don't really seem to be able to come up with a way to stop that from happening. So with that being said, whether Anduin is intentionally lying or not, you could look at it like this. If what Anduin is saying is in his mind true, but in the grand scheme of it all not true, then perhaps they could view it as a lie. If Anduin says we defeated the Burning Legion, but the old gods know that we didn't actually defeat the Burning Legion, then it is kind of a lie, but it's not something that Anduin would necessarily be directly doing. There are other things that people think Anduin has lied about. Some of the others include a quote where he says to Sylvanas, "Only one of us wanted this war." So take that as what you will. And there's another one that people have recently said that where Anduin says to Saurfang, "I set you on this path." There is a possibility that no, Anduin didn't really set Saurfang on this path. It sounds as though Sylvanas was more than likely the one that actually set Saurfang on this path. Because here's the thing. When Sylvanas kneels down behind Saurfang while they're fighting and says, "I trusted you," I think Sylvanas genuinely meant that. And I don't think that Sylvanas invests trust into people very easily. And I think that once we get to the Veramathris quotes, you're going to understand this a little bit better. But I do think that Sylvanas and Saurfang plotted something that was basically going to result in the fall of King Anduin Wrynn, or in the fall of the Alliance. I think that there was something that was supposed to happen, more than likely Saurfang being captured, and I think Saurfang, when Anduin came in the cell with him, was probably supposed to kill Anduin Wrynn. Because Saurfang even makes a point that he could kill Anduin. But I think Saurfang is obviously very kind of distraught and very conflicted on whether or not he would actually want to do that. Because you have on one side loyalty, perhaps even blind loyalty and blind faith in staying with Sylvanas and following her orders, and then the other being honorable and not basically ambushing and tearing apart a young king who is essentially in the moment kind of defenseless against someone as powerful and battle-hardened as Saurfang. In a hand-to-hand combat, Saurfang would fuck Anduin up unless Anduin was able to call on the light for something and decimate Saurfang. But the point is that I'm pretty sure, as I speculated in the past, that Saurfang was originally planted by Sylvanas in order to bring about the downfall of the Alliance. But this didn't happen, and hope and honor are the two things that stopped this from happening. But here's the thing. This is what the lie supposedly is. 3 lies, the first been told. The following line describes the lie. Bound by that throne? No. Free. Free. The next gonna come soon. Maybe they see this one. Here's the thing. This is the lie. Bound by that throne? No. When we're in Silithus, interacting with this giant fucking sword, who do we believe was literally just locked into a seat, into a throne? We believe, based on what we witnessed in the cinematic, that Sargeras, Lord and leader of the Burning Legion, was defeated and that he was bound into that seat on the seat of the Pantheon. But what Augment is saying is no. Free. Free. Now, it's said that we used the last remaining power of Argus to bind Sargeras to the seat of the Pantheon forever. But if there was an inherent connection between Sargeras and Argus, and I believe that it's quite evident that there was, considering that, well, Magni says that there was a connection between the two of them, in the fact that when we're fighting Argus on the Mythic-only phase, we fight against these mechanics like the fear of Sargeras, Sargeras' fear, Sargeras' rage, sentence of Sargeras. There's a very clear connection between the two titans, and I don't necessarily know if that connection was actually severed. So with that being said, when Sargeras is about to be in prison, it is very possible that while he's having this literal beam of Argus's energy shot at him, that he transferred it, or in some capacity, basically imbued it into the sword that he was holding and stuck it in our planet. An interesting thing is, one of Argus's death dialogue lines says, free, free. So that is to say, I don't think the Burning Legion is defeated, necessarily. And I think that the lie is most likely, unbeknownst to Anduin, it's what he said is not true. The next going to come soon, maybe they see this one. So, this is what he says.
Other hammers here now. They talk and talk about Argus. About the one that got wakened. About great victory that our enemy not even notice. But only Augment sees the visions. Other hammers not blessed by the masters. Augment share his dreams with the others, but the skinny one just laugh. Augment no like her.
Other hammers here now, so other Twilight hammers. They talk and talk about Argus. About the one that got wakened. Hold on. That's literally Argus the Titan, right? Argus was a sleeping, dreaming world soul, and apparently was being tormented and tortured by the Burning Legion. An interesting note, in 1000 Years of War, the audio drama that released with I believe it was 7.3, that details Illyria and Turalion's journey through Outland and to Argus, describes that Argus, the only solace from the pain that Argus was feeling was in its dream. That is to say that when Argus is dreaming, Argus feels no pain. But when a Titan is in a world soul state, isn't a Titan dreaming? Because if that's the case, then Argus wasn't being tortured by the Burning Legion because he wasn't in a physical form. He was in a world soul form. It's interesting because it says that the tormented cries of the Pantheon rung out from deep within the core of Argus. However, the Pantheon were also in like little essence world soul forms. Were they really actually feeling any pain? And was Argus actually feeling any pain? That's a question that I would want to throw to you guys, because it literally says in canon writing that when Argus is dreaming, he has no torment. It's solace from the pain. So it would seem more so to me that when Argus takes a physical form, like what we see in the Argus fight, that is more painful than what he was enduring whilst in a world soul form. So this whole idea that Sargeras was tormenting Argus, I'm not necessarily sure about. But about the one that got wakened, that would definitely be Argus. About a great victory that our enemy not even notice. Now, there's discussion about this as well. There has been for a long time. The number one thing people go to is when you're a Shadow Priest and you take Xal'atath to the seat of the Pantheon, Xal'atath says, "Long have we sought entry into this realm. To think we have a mortal to thank, your service will be remembered," right? Apparently, this is some huge step for the Void or whatever. So it could be that. It could also be what Sargeras did with the sword, and him actually getting Argus out of the seat of the Pantheon and away from that prison, and basically putting Argus here in our world. And I do have a video where I state, and I believe that the Azerite, which we're interacting with, is a mixture of not just Azeroth's blood, and I believe Azeroth is light in creation, but Argus's blood and Argus's soul essence as well, as uncreation, as shadow, as death. And I think that they come together to create a power of creation and destruction. When Sylvanas holds Azerite in the Before the Storm book, which is also another canon piece of literature, she feels as though she is a goddess of creation and destruction when holding Azerite, and she had never understood how deeply the two were intertwined. This literally feeds right into my theories. So, with that being said, let's move on. Only Augment is seeing these visions. So only Augment's having these interesting dreams, and the other hammers aren't blessed, so to speak, by the masters. Augment share his dreams with the others, but the skinny one just laugh. Augment no like her. So apparently the others are very devoted. However, they're not even getting these visions. But what Augmot's seeing, see, they laugh at Augment, but what Augmot's seeing is true. What Augment is being shown is very clearly, as we've seen that the events of BFA unfold, true. So it's funny that the other Twilight's Hammers would laugh at him and kind of belittle him for his visions when they're right. So that's almost to say that whatever is giving Augment these visions is something that is not, like Augment says, blessing or touching upon these other Twilight's Hammer. I'm curious why Augment was so special and got to see this, but maybe it's just a plot device in order for it to be illustrated to us and to be communicated to us. The skinny one just laughed, Augment no like her. It's probably talking about a Forsaken, considering that Sylvanas clearly has ties with N'Zoth. And there's a pretty good possibility that there's at least one or two Forsaken, right, running around in the fucking Twilight's Hammer cult. They take literally anybody in. So it wouldn't shock me if there were Forsaken as a part of the Twilight's Hammer cult.
Many days passed with no visions. Did Augment make the masters angry? Me gonna make sacrifice. Please the masters. Remember Augment.
So all of a sudden he stops getting visions. Did Augment make the masters angry? Well, what would Augment have done that would have angered the masters? Augment share his dreams with the others. The skinny one just laughed. Did Augment make the masters angry by sharing what he saw with the others? Perhaps that whoever or whatever is giving Augment these dreams doesn't want the other Twilight's Hammer to see it. They don't want them to know about it. That's the only thing I can think of that Augment would have done that would have made the masters angry. Don't tell the others. The others are not blessed, right? So why would you show them or try to tell them about something which they are not meant to see?
The star watching Augment. Too shiny. Augment gonna hide from it. The dagger spoke true. It'd been too long since Augment got drowned. Masters, no forsake Augment.
So the star watching Augment, I think that's definitely the red star in the sky. And as I have pointed out in videos before, while many believe that red star is the remaining rift between Azeroth and Argus, and understandably so, I believe something different. I believe that the red star that you see in the sky is the soul of Sargeras, Lord of the Burning Legion. And if you slow the cinematic down and pay very, very close attention to my boy Sargeras when he gets imprisoned, you can see the red star literally in his chest. So I believe that the star that Augment is referring to looking down upon Augment that is too shiny is more than likely Sargeras gazing down upon us. Augment gonna hide from it. So he's gonna hide from it because apparently it's too shiny, it's too bright. And maybe Augment is scared of that. The dagger spoke true. So that's definitely talking about Xal'atath. So at some point or another, Augment has been in contact with Xal'atath, which is not striking to me. That's not shocking. It'd been too long since Augment got drowned. Now here's the thing. Being drowned, I think in the Alliance quest lines, we saw the drowning of certain people, and I'm pretty sure when that happened, they turned into faceless ones, or they... I think that's what happened. Perhaps they died. I don't necessarily recall. If people would help me out with that in the comments. Basically, it sounds like Augment's been drowned before. I don't know if Augment is drowned and then reborn, if he is drowned and then turns into something or upholds a guise because he is drowned. I'm not sure. But they're basically saying it hasn't been done in a long time. It needs to happen again. Maybe it just means dying. I don't know. Masters, no forsake Augment. Don't let this go. Don't give up your blessings on me. This is what he says.
The bones got picked clean, but Augment still get no visions. The others laugh, say Augment not devoted. But me is the chosen one. Augment no lose faith. Another sacrifice? Yes. One more them ain't gonna be missed.
So I used to interpret this a little bit differently. The bones got picked clean, but Augment still no get visions. The others laugh, say Augment not devoted, but me is the chosen one. When it says the bones got picked clean, I initially thought Augment was giving a sacrifice to something else that was picking the bones clean. Then I came to what I believe was a realization that Augment is the one eating them. The bones got picked clean, but I'm still not getting visions. That sounds to me like cannibalism. He is eating something, but still not getting visions. That's how I'm taking that. The others say that he's not devoted. It sounds like, based on what he says here,
Another sacrifice? Yes. One more of them ain't gonna be missed.
one more of them. What he's probably talking about is he's either sacrificing other hammers and eating them. He is either eating goblins or something like that, maybe Horde or Alliance characters that are out there in Silithus. But it almost sounds like to me that Augment could potentially be eating something, potentially other Twilight's Hammer cultists, in order to serve as a sacrifice to get visions from the masters. So if that's true, this is very dark. Like cannibalistic rituals as sacrifice and stuff where you're literally eating the flesh of others around you, that's fucking metal. Like that's pretty dark. And considering some of the quotes that we've heard about and from characters like N'Zoth, this is really fucking dark if that's what's happening. But then this is what Augment says. All of a sudden, so he gives one, so he does another one. One more of them ain't gonna be missed. So even though the most recent sacrifice wasn't enough, he does another. This is what he says.
Roused by her screams, stirred by the whispers, a blessing from the masters. Now Augment understand. A door, a path, ours. Fool, the circle awakened us all.
Now, that is a very interesting set of quotes right there. Roused by her screams, stirred by the whispers. So her screams could literally be Sylvanas Windrunner. Stirred by the whispers could be N'Zoth, right? The screams could be Azeroth as well. Regardless, a blessing from the masters. His sacrifice gets him another blessing. Now Augment understand. A door. A path. Ours. A door, huh? I know of a very important doorway in World of Warcraft. And that is the doorway of death. Death be a doorway. It is a path. Something that allows for change and transition. Something that brings about an end in order to cycle in a new beginning. It is a door, a path. Ours. Fool. I don't know who the fool is. Maybe it's Sargeras, but the circle awakened us all. Some people would equate that to the circle of stars. But Sargeras actually has a quote during one of his cinematics where he talks to Agrimar, where he says, the circle nears completion. I believe Ashara actually says as well something about a ritual being complete. Il'gynoth says, your coming was foretold in the rings. The long circle is nearly complete. Something, a large circle, like a cycle, is coming to its climax. And whatever the circle was awakened what was sleeping. Which is probably has to do with all the old gods. But let me talk to you guys about Veramathris' quotes. And I'm going to voice these out because I love doing Veramathris. So the first is to the Alliance.
So, your alliance still endures. Longer than I had expected. Though she has already planted the seeds of its downfall. She is patient, that one. When your thrones run red with betrayal, when your holy places burn, and the shattered mask hangs above your hearth, only then will you know. And it will be too late. It matters not. You are blind to the true darkness closing in around you.
So, let's talk about this, because this is 100% talking about Sylvanas. Your alliance still endures, longer than I expected, though she has already planted the seeds of its downfall. She is patient, that one. Here's the thing. If you look at the Brazilian or Portuguese translation for this. He actually says she is patient, that elf. So, Sylvanas Windrunner has done something that would plant the seeds of the downfall of the Alliance. That, to me, is one of two things. Her plan to literally plant Saurfang as a seed to the downfall of the Alliance. Or, and what I think is more likely, I think it's a very underlying thing that Veramathris is doing. It's very clever. Planting the seeds. When you think about sowing your seeds, starting a family and things like that, you often think about offspring. Varian Wrynn dying planted Anduin, Varian's seed, as the new leader of the Alliance. So you could take it as Sylvanas planted the seeds, Anduin, as the downfall of the Alliance. She is patient, that one. When your thrones run red with betrayal. That's an interesting one, because what was I saying? Saurfang was going to betray Anduin Wrynn in the Alliance. But that didn't happen. When your holy places burn, Teldrassil, and the shattered mask hangs above your hearth, only then will you know. Only then will we know what? The truth? And it will be too late. That is to say, that once we get to the point where the Alliance's thrones have run red with betrayal, when their holy places have burned and the shattered mask hangs above their hearth, it will be too late. And what Sylvanas is saying in her most recent cinematic, talking about things like countless souls have been fed to the hungering darkness. War was ended prematurely, but it doesn't matter now. Whatever Sylvanas' plan is, she is very quickly closing in on the climax of it. And as I have said before, I think that is the end of all things. Just so you guys know, Christy Gul'dan helped contribute to the writing of a book called The Death of All Things, and I don't think that's coincidental considering Argus the Unmaker casts an ability called The End of All Things. Then he says this, "It matters not. You are blind to the true darkness closing in around you." And I think that true darkness is not the void. I think the true darkness is death, Argus, and how they are blind to it. And what is blinding them? Probably their honor, probably their pride, things of that nature. It could be the void. It could be that they're blind to the void closing in around them, considering that the Alliance has not only Lightforged, but void elves as well. Let's read what he says to the Horde. "So, she found me at last. Send her underlings to finish the job. Tell me, when she seized your throne of hides and bones, was your allegiance forced? No. I'd wager you surrendered it willingly, or were convinced you did. It matters not. You are blind to the darkness in your midst." So what he's saying there, I think that the darkness that he's referring to in both of these passages, I think that's probably death. We're blind to the darkness that Sylvanas is carrying with her in our midst, to the darkness. Probably something to do with N'Zoth. We're blind to it. We don't see that it's there. Well, most people didn't see that it's there. I saw that it was there. Anyway. When she seized your throne of hides and bones, was your allegiance forced? No. I'd wager you surrendered it willingly, or were convinced you did. So that is saying, what Veramathris is saying is that he is aware that there was a plot, and probably has been for a long time now, where whoever whispered to Vol'jin, that was planned, and Veramathris knows about that. We thought we surrendered the throne willingly, but it was manipulated. Sylvanas was put in that position on purpose for a very important reason. It matters not, though. You are blind to the darkness in your midst. One more quote that I want to refer to. And that is the quotes from Gul'dan. Gul'dan has a couple interesting quotes, and I definitely think that that some of them are talking about Sylvanas. This is what he says. So remember when I talked about how our pride can lead to arrogance, and that it's a very dangerous thing, as Emperor Xiao identifies. If you guys haven't watched my video on pride, you really should go watch it. It's like my second newest video. This is what Gul'dan says.
Yes, the heroes have arrived. So persistent, so confident. But your arrogance will be your undoing. Have you forgotten your humiliation on the broken shore? How your precious High King was bent and broken before me? Will you beg for your lives as he did, whimpering like some worthless dog?
The domestic dog is a member of the genus Canis, which forms part of the world
Alexa, stop.
and is the most widely abundant terrestrial carnivore.
Your pathetic alliance will fall to dust. Your new boy king will bow down and serve me, as will all of you.
That's what he says to the Alliance. Damn. That's rough. And then even more important, the quotes to the Horde.
Have you forgotten your humiliation on the broken shore? How your mighty war chief was stuck in the belly like a helpless piglet? Will you die slowly as he did, consumed by fell corruption, and squealing for a merciful end? Your pathetic horde will fall to dust. In the end, death will inherit this world, and she will be waiting. The husk of Illidan will prove an ideal vessel for my master's glory. Sargeras will rise, and together we will watch your world burn. Let the end game begin!
Here's the thing. Oh, this line right here. In the end, death will inherit this world, and she will be waiting. She is patient, that elf. He's talking about Sylvanas. In the end, where we are now, death will inherit the world. Death is here. Argus is here. And she, Sylvanas, will be waiting. And as soon as that giant sword, filled with that horrible energy, was plunged into our world, who started making moves? Who has basically gone out of her way to cause as much death as possible? Sylvanas fucking Windrunner. This is part of why I say that she is not only in some capacity working to the ends of N'Zoth, but working for the Burning Legion. This is part of why when Anduin says that we defeated the Burning Legion, we did not. No, we did not. Defeated? Is that what you call what happened in Silithus? Defeat? Right. No. There's more going on here. More. That is to come. And I've been tying this together for a long time now. So when it happens, finally, and she shows her true colors, do not be surprised. But enjoy it. Because it's far more interesting than anything Garrosh ever did. But that is it for this video. I wanted to come back and talk about this because there are characters in the game that say little cryptic things that we really should have paid more attention to and given more credence to because they've turned out to be true. So, with that being said, I want to thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please give the video a positive rating and hit the subscribe button if you would like more content like this in the future. I am going to be going to BlizzCon, and you can bet your ass I'm going to be freaking the fuck out every second when they announce the Shadowlands. And, just kidding. We don't know what's going to happen. So, if you guys don't know, I do have a Twitter. It's twitter.com/pyromancersarg. You should follow me there. I tweet about lore stuff all the time. And I do have a Twitch, twitch.tv/pyromancersarg, just /pyromancer, yeah, where I'm going to be streaming Destiny 2 Shadowkeep today. And then I do have a Patreon. If you guys would like to help support me, help me pay the bills around here, you can go to my Patreon, patreon.com/pyromancer, and you can give me anywhere from $1 to whatever amount of dollars you want per month just to help support my stuff. So I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you once again for watching this video. Stay awesome. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.